So here's our polish from last night. So it's been 24 hours and I had it covered with saran wrap. And if you notice, it has almost doubled in size, and that's because of the yeast and the flour and the water. So we're going to take 65% of this polish, and then we will start the video and add our ingredients and do our mixing from there, so you can see how this whole process works. Okay, so here we go. We're going to take our polish and we're going to do 65%. If y'all saw the measurement that I'm going to put up still, and here is our polish. Hopefully y'all can see this. I'm going to add 65% of it into the mixer. I don't want to add too much of it, but I want to put just 65%. Still using a silicone scraper, and it's cutting it. Next, I'm going to add the 1,013 grams of flour that was previously measured out. Now I'm going to turn the mixer on. This is a actual dough mixer. It's a FA Mag 8 quart. But most people, I started out with a KitchenAid and then I went to an Ankersham. But you can use whatever mixer you have. I'm going to do it really slow. I'm going to add in the salt so that while it's mixing, the salt's being incorporated into the polish and the flour. I am doing this on a low speed so it incorporates that polish, because it still has water and the flour that just was added. I don't want it to really start forming the dough just yet. Now with the KitchenAid mixer that I started off with before I upgraded my equipment, is I was having it stick to the actual dough hook. Just make sure that you pull it off that dough hook every now and again. Next, I'm going to add in the 399 milliliters of cold water. I like to put this water in the refrigerator and get it really cold, so I don't actually, add heat, because once you're mixing and it's building gluten, it actually heats up the dough. So we'll add just about half. I keep a thermometer, a little digital red dot for checking the temperature. Now this is still slow. Right now we are at, looks like 70 degrees Fahrenheit. You don't want to go over 80, because then you're actually heating up the dough. Next, I'm going to add just a little bit more water to the dough. I don't want to use it all up just yet. I've already incorporated the polish, the flour, the salt, and right now it's about 3/4 of the water. I'm still at a slow speed. I will speed that up later on once the rest of the water is added to the dough mixture. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the remaining water to the dough. I'm going to slowly pour it in. And once that is done, that's when I'm going to speed up the mixer. If you're using a KitchenAid, just start off really slow, 1 or 2 on a mix speed, and then, you know, go to 3, not necessarily going to 4 or 5 for fast just yet. Let it all incorporate. Now that I've gone to a higher speed, trying to get the dough balls to form and the dough to build gluten, you can see the temperature gauge right now. I'm trying to keep it under 78 degrees. Now you can see the dough is really starting to form. If you're using a KitchenAid mixer, which most people have, and not these high dollar mixers like I have right now, I just upped my game. Just make sure that you stop it every now and again and pull that dough off the dough hook. Make sure you have a temperature gauge and just check your temperature. Please don't go over 80 degrees, because then it'll start heating up too much, and then your fermentation is going to be too high and it'll be too quick. So right now we're at 72 degrees, and I'm going to let this go a little longer, but you can see how it's really starting to build the gluten and start stretching. It's almost looking like a pumpkin, and that's what everything is talking about, is make it look like a pumpkin on this mixer. So we're starting to get close on the actual dough. I'm at 76 degrees. I really don't want to go past 78, but you can also see how that dough is mixing up, and it's really starting to form like a pumpkin. Now on that KitchenAid, just get you a gauge like I'm using, and keep checking your temperature. Pull it off that dough hook and then let it mix again. I notice on the KitchenAid it climbs up that actual dough hook, so just keep scraping it off with a silicone scraper or your hands with a little olive oil on it so it doesn't stick, because that dough is going to be sticky. So here we are, we're at 78 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and shut this off, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull it out and let it rest for about an hour at room temperature. What I love about this mixer is a tilt head, and y'all can see the gluten that's built and how much it's stretching right now. I'm going to pull this dough out, and I'm going to put it on some flour, and I'm going to let it sit there and rest for about an hour.